Hi guys, Finan recaps here. Today I'm going to be talking about the movie titled Zero the Bravest Money Game, released in the year 2018. Watch out. I can subscribe for more. I can subscribe for part 3.
At this time, they needed a leap of imagination. Billy left the matter to Henry. Maybe his nonsense could give Billy inspiration. On the other hand, Anthony seemed to already know the answer. He asked to see the options on the computer. But Charles hugged the tablet and hid in the small room and did not come out. It turned out that he had the same idea as Adam and wanted to eliminate this strongest opponent. That's when it occurred to Henry that 3 plus 6 equals 9. Speaking of the number 9, he thought of a vegetable. To pickle this vegetable, you have to cut off the top of it from above in one go, creating a flat surface. After hearing Henry's words, Billy was inspired. Why should the ceiling be designed to be transparent glass? At that moment a large bird flew overhead. It turned out that the roof was not glass. He instantly understood that the key to this problem is the overall structure. With a 36-degree angle as the center, put together two isosceles triangles. It becomes a large isosceles triangle, and this shape is the floor plan of the room. Bring the 10 rooms together. The figure that is presented at this point is the pentagram. The answer had been found, and all that was needed was to send this option to win. But Adam and Charles didn't want to send the answer so quickly. They still wanted to eliminate these two strong opponents. But then, Billy and Anthony shouted at the same time that there were only a few minutes left in the game. Anthony wanted to see the answer options, but Charles just wouldn't show them to him. Adam got anxious, he grabbed the computer and sent the answer over. But this answer turned out to be wrong. Now there was only Billy's group left. At this point the water level was up to his neck. He asked Adam not to send the answer, because he had a vague feeling that the answer was another one. Billy could only ask himself to calm down and think carefully. At this point Henry could no longer watch. He picked up the pillar to smash the glass to save Billy out. Billy told him to stop immediately, because even if he was saved out, but because the correct answer is not given, the other 9 people will also be eliminated. So for the sake of everyone he must answer the question correctly. At this point he was not thinking only of himself, he also wanted to help the other 9 players. Adam had a shocked face. How could there be such kind people in the world? He carefully surveyed the answer options. Finally, number 16 windmill, this is the correct answer. Henry immediately sent the answer. Liza reluctantly pressed the correct button, because she also wanted to eliminate Billy. The container began to drain, but by now the water level was seriously too high. Billy's heart had stopped beating. But surprisingly, Adam gave him cardiac resuscitation. Maybe he was really impressed by Billy. Fortunately, Billy woke up. Adam let out a long breath. He finally woke up Billy. And Billy saved everyone. The game ended. Billy finally got the first circle. And Anthony was a distant second with 3 circles. Henry and Adam had 2 rings. These 3 little cuties are taking part in a sick game. Above them was a big iron anchor of 30 kilograms swinging back and forth. They need to answer the questions. If the wrong answer, then they can go to God. Billy, in order to collect the rings, teamed up with Charles and Wade to play this game. When the big iron anchor landing moment really scared them, Billy took his hand and touched it. It was sharp as hell. The host began to introduce the rules of the game. This is a question and answer game. If the answer is correct, the iron anchor will rise. Wrong answer, the iron anchor will fall. If the iron anchor completely down, the consequences do not need me to say more. Billy understood, then you just need to answer all the questions correctly. It is not okay. But the host said that the players need to answer the questions in order from left to right. The most important thing is that the answer cannot be revealed. If one person answers incorrectly, 3 people have to bear the consequences together. The game began. The first question was answered by Wade. There are 24 letters of the alphabet on the screen. Wade chose G, which is a 1-point question. The smaller the number, the easier the topic. The question was, which prefecture in Japan has the smallest area? But who expected Wade, a poor student, did not know? Charles began to complain. The moderator scoffed, saying that this was a question that any elementary school student could answer correctly. Then he added a little in the descending area. Billy immediately noticed that the iron anchor did not descend. What's going on here? The next question was Billy's turn, and he chose J, a 2-point question. Billy got it right easily. But the moderator also only added 2 points to the rising area. The iron anchor was still in the same position. The next question came to Charles, who chose D, again a 2-point question. He also got it right easily. The rising area was also increased by 2 points. Billy was puzzled as to why the iron anchor was still in the same position. Is there another mystery? Then it was Wade's turn again. He chose N. This time it was not quite the same as before. The moderator explained that it was a question of anchor points. There are 6 anchor questions in the game. It turns out that the other 18 normal problems will not change the position of the big iron anchor. It will only accumulate points in the rising and falling areas. If the anchor question is answered incorrectly, the big iron cat will execute the points in the descending area. If the answer is correct, it will execute the points in the rising area. After answering the anchor question, the points in both areas are cleared. Billy finally figured it out. He immediately realized that no matter how to answer the question correctly, as long as the anchor question is answered incorrectly, it is all over. Then, how to find the letters corresponding to the anchor point question is the secret to pass. And according to the rules of the game in the past, the anchor question is certainly not random. Most likely, it is the word iron anchor. Unfortunately, Wade once again answered incorrectly. The big iron anchor executes a little drop. The sound of the gears was clearly visible and they were one step closer to being eliminated. Wade started to blame himself constantly. Billy reassured him that the iron anchor was still a long way away now. It was Billy's turn to answer the question next, and since the points were cleared, he couldn't choose the anchor question. So he chose T. It was a 3-point question, and Billy still got it right easily. The upward area was increased by 3 points. It was Charles's turn. Billy prayed in his heart that Charles would not select the anchor point question. Fortunately, he chose B. Unfortunately, it was the most difficult 4-point question. Charles just gave up, and Liza was directing from behind, trying to get Billy to answer the question. Sure enough, Billy got it right at first answer. This pissed off the 2 hosts. They removed all the easy questions and increased the difficulty to target Billy. They were going to eliminate the 3 of them. When it came to the 7th question, the hosts deliberately gave the right to answer to Billy. Billy didn't know what kind of trick the hosts were going to play again. He was a little hesitant and did not choose the anchor point question. Billy chose Z, which was a 2-point question. The question was, how many maids did Big Boss have? This kind of question, how can Billy answer? Billy thought about it for a moment and answered 53. And the correct answer is 365. When the host heard his answer, he felt a little strange. Then he thought, 53 is the number of weeks in a year. 1 week to change a servant. The answer was close enough. Although the answer is wrong, but Billy's reasoning is the right direction. But he was just an ordinary person, and changing 1 servant a week was the limit of his imagination. At this point, the score in the drop zone had reached 6 points. Once the anchor point question is answered wrong, then these 3 people can see God answer the question. At this point he was fidgety, because the lives of the 3 of them could be in his hands. He hesitated between D and R. Billy is also anxious. He thought to himself, you must not choose R, that is an anchor point problem. How was he supposed to remind Wade of that? Suddenly, Billy was hurling insults at Wade. He said he was an idiot and would only drag his friend down. The host was very happy to see the 2 arguing. This is what he wanted to see. Billy secretly gave Wade a hand gesture, which Wade immediately understood. The gesture meant to choose the bottom row. So he chose D. The answer was still wrong. But it does not matter, because the next to Billy, he will choose the anchor point questions to answer. But an accident happened. The moderator directly skipped Billy, let Charles to answer. Because the previous question Billy answered correctly. Billy was confused. He said, isn't that what you told me to answer? The host did not listen to the explanation. He said, you have answered. Now Billy was speechless. What was even more speechless was that Charles chose straight R. This was an anchor question. The moderator asked him to say what his full name was. Charles was dumbfounded. The host did introduce himself before the game started. His name was a super long string of names that he certainly couldn't remember. The host excitedly said, my name is Pablo Diego Jose Santiago Francisco de Paula Gunther Nepomuceno Crespiniano de Rose Remedios Cipriano. Now they were desperate. The big iron anchor dropped 7 points directly. When it came to Billy, he did not choose the anchor question. Because there wasn't a single point in the rising area. This was a 4-point question. Just see the moderator take out a handful of coins and put them on the table. Then he randomly took one out and held it in his hand and asked Billy what the face value of the coin in his hand was. How should this be answered? The host then kindly reminded that the coin was likely to be 50 yen, 100 yen, and 500 yen. Billy immediately saw through the host's trap. He could not be so kind as to remind himself. Most likely, he was trying to mislead him into thinking it was a yen. Judging from the host's name, he was most likely mixed American and Japanese. Then the coin he was holding was most likely a US dollar. And US coins of $1 and 1 cent denominations are the rarest and generally unknown to the general public. So the answer should be among these 2. Billy can reason up to here. He has done his best. The next step was to rely on luck. He chose 1 cent. But unfortunately, the answer was wrong. The moderator had $1 in his hand. The downward area had accumulated to 8 points. Next it was time for Charles to answer. He selected the anchor point question again. 10 seconds to calculate the answer to this question. How is this possible to answer? The big iron anchor had dropped another 8 points. The 3 of them are probably in the robbery. Large sharp iron anchor is right in front of the 3. Just 2 centimeters from them. 3 people did not dare to move. And so the 4th round of the game began. Wade was still the first to answer the question. He chose W. It was a math problem. Billy kept giving him confidence. Finally, Wade answered correctly for the first time. But the drop zone went up by 3 points. Because Billy interfered with the answer, it was ruled as wrong. As a punishment, Billy was skipped again to answer the question. It was Charles's turn next. He chose a simple question, and he still got it wrong. The drop zone went up to 4 points. It was Wade's turn again, and he chose Y, a 3-point question. Name the 10 countries that have stars on their flags, in addition to the United States and China. This question Wade was very good at, because his father was a diplomat. He finally got a question right on his own. The upward zone increased by 3 points. Billy was next, and he didn't hesitate to choose the anchor point question. But what he didn't know was that the moderator had already guessed what he was thinking. He was waiting for him to choose the anchor point question. The moderator gave him a difficult question. The question was, there is a symbol on the host, please ask what is it? Billy was in no hurry to answer. He began to make small talk with the host, hoping to get a clue from it. Sure enough, the smug host said directly that it was a tattoo he got when he was a school bully in high school. Billy said, you don't look like a school bully at all, but rather like you've been bullied a lot. And I'm afraid you don't even have any friends. Seeing the 3 of us living together peacefully, your heart is very upset. When you see the 3 of us fighting, you gloat. This shows that there is no friendship in your heart at all. The host began to blush, as if the secret was broken. Billy went on to say that you have a character inside your name that in turn means bullied. That wouldn't be the special symbol in you, would it? It turns out that the host was the subject of bullying in high school, and in order to cater to the other side, he had to give himself a tattoo. And the symbol backwards means bullied. Sally didn't expect it to be such a problem. She turned to the host and said, is that your special question? It was so easily guessed by him. The host ran out of steam and vowed that he would eliminate Billy. So he started controlling the backstage and changed the position of the anchor question. Not only that, but he also turned all the questions Billy drew into 1-point questions. And the other 2 drew, all of them were 4-point high difficulty questions. Soon, the drop zone accumulated to 12 points at once. And these 12 points were already enough to eliminate these 3 people.